So we've just had a little delivery from the guys over at Autohaus, which is delivering the missing piece to our puzzle. And that is the final thing we need to get this van ready for trips away this summer. There's one thing which is really missing, which we've noticed when we've been staying in the van, and that is that we don't actually have a table. We've been taking camping tables with us, but that takes valuable space up underneath our bed. So having a fixed table in the van is going to solve a lot of issues. So what we've ordered from Autohaus isn't actually a table, it's a table leg. And this sits right here, just against the B-pillar. And as you can see, it is designed perfectly to sit right up against this unit and sit behind a captain's chair or a twin chair in my case. We also then have another box. Now this contains a few things. Lots of hardware to mount it to here, but more importantly, 2 mounts. And these are lovely. These are nice machine bits of aluminium, which have all been really nicely CNC'd and powder coated, so they are top quality. And these, if we bring this down here, you'll be able to see, this unit here then goes onto here with this engaging into there. So it's not tight obviously, but this allows the table to be stored like this, brought up, rotated, so you can have the table in many configurations possible, which is very exciting. But I know what you're thinking. What use is a table leg without an actual tabletop? And yes, I know. We don't have a tabletop yet. We're going to get this all installed, and then we're going to build a custom tabletop for the van, which is just going to tie in a little bit better with the rest of the van. The reason I've not gone for the Autohaus tabletop is because of the material. So the Autohaus tabletop comes out of the same material which this unit's made out of, and that is this corrugated ply almost, which is very industrial, very rugged, very hard wearing, but won't exactly fit with the theme of my van. So to make it better, we're going to build a custom tabletop, and it's great that from Autohaus you can order just all these components and build your own tabletop, and I haven't had to order a full table, so I'm buzzing with that. But first, let's get this table leg all installed, ready for a custom tabletop to be built.
So when it comes to installing the table leg, I first placed it in the location it would sit. I then decided to remove the leg to make it easier to line up and drill into place. This just holds in with a little clip. So these self-tappers are provided, and these are to attach the table leg to the van. I still use a 3mm pilot drill before running the self-tapper screws down. I did this for a couple of reasons. First one being that the B-pillar is carpeted, which makes it very hard to run self-tappers through. Secondly, it will just ensure that the screws run straight and properly. By using a 3mm pilot drill, it still gives plenty of metal for the self-tapper to bite to whilst guiding it in nicely. When attaching the mounting plate, I pilot drilled and screwed in the top and bottom screw to hold in a fixed position before pilot drill and self-tapping through all the other holes with the mounting unit in place. I could then reinsert the leg. So next up was to build the knuckle, which allows the tabletop to swivel. This is probably the most confusing part, but it's still super simple. First, the long bolt needs to be placed through the single hole on one side so it threads into the other side. Next, these little inserts need to be put in, which allow for the locking screws to be inserted. These go in the 2 remaining holes on the unit, and then the holes in the insert should line up with the holes in the knuckle. Now the locking screws can be put in so you can just see the thread out of the other side. And that is the knuckle made up and complete, very nice and simple. Now the knuckle is made up, it can be placed onto the leg in the orientation shown, so the through hole is free and the blind hole goes onto the leg. The table plate can then be placed into the through hole. Both the adjuster screws can be tightened to keep everything tight in place.
And now we have a tabletop. So this is what we're going to use to make the top of our table out of. It's just a nice bit of timber. It's 500mm wide, 18mm thick, and at the minute it's 1.1 meters long. We're going to cut that down obviously, because 1.1 meters won't allow us to have it in the doorway like this. So we'll work out the right length, which allows us to have it in the doorway, allows it to sit nicely out here, and then allows it to sit nicely behind this seat here, which will get us full use. So once we've got it cut down, we'll get it mounted, check that it maneuvers nicely and works perfectly as a table, and then after that we can take the mount off, varnish it all, and then remount it, and we have a finished table. But first, let's get it all cut, measured up, and ready and mounted to this table. So it's all marked out. So the edge of the plate will sit here, here and here, and then come up to this, and then it'll sit on this bit. So we'll have overhang from this side on the top of the plate, and then this will be the rest of the table. So from this side here to over here, we've got 800mm. We're going to cut off this end bit, giving a total dimension of 500mm wide, 800mm long, and then 18mm thick. Let's get this top section here cut off, and then we can mount the plate to here, get it mounted to the table leg here, and see how it all fits. And then this is the table now that it's all in position. So we've cut it all to size, and as you can see, it fits really nicely behind this swivel seat here. Still need to varnish it, so we'll get it off, get it all varnished, and then reattach it all back here and show you how it all works. And this is how it looks when it's out of the van. Still not varnished yet, but it sits really nicely, and as you can see, goes nice little gap there, perfect height, and it's a nice big table to do lots of cooking and all that other stuff on. So let's get this all varnished, unattach it from the leg, all varnish it, reattach it, and then the table is done. So that is the table all varnished and refitted, and it looks so much better now. It ties in with the rest of the colour scheme of the van. So if we just jump outside the van, you can see how it all looks now. It's in situ, so this is when it's in its normal position. So this will be just when it's resting, ready to be used. And I'll show you quickly now what it's like in all the different positions and how you can use it in all its many configurations. So this is how the table works in all its many configurations. So I've got it loose, that's why it's moving a little bit at the minute, and I'm going to keep it loose for the whole thing because I'm not going to lock it in whilst I show you the different positions it can be in. But first, if we move it out, you can see we can have it across here, so we can be stood here doing stuff on the table. We can also then move it back here, so we can sit on the sofa behind you and use the table there. It also works, if we push it back, we can have it in that position there, so it'll sit there. And then if we move it all the way out here, this is going to be the most useful one, and the main reason I got it is that it can sit there, so we can have chopping up boards on here, and we can pull the hob drawer out here, lift that up, so we can cook here, chop here, nice L-shaped kitchen, which is going to be very, very nice in the summer when we're on the road around Europe. So I'll just put the hob drawer back away and then move this, but the way to use this table is so easy. It manoeuvres so nicely, and all the fittings are really, really top quality. So if I now lock that back in place, and there we are, it fits nice and snug behind that chair, and you can't even tell it's there. It's such a discreet unit, and it works amazingly. I am very, very happy with how this has turned out. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.